3, 2, boom. Danielle Moinet, the one and only.
Hi.
Hi, you got your water?
Listen, we just want to go ahead. Where am I looking?
Anywhere you want.
We just want to start this podcast off by saying what we always say, strictly friends.
Strictly friends.
No funny business here.
Yeah.
We used to live together.
We have.
Some say two very attractive people cannot live together.
We proved them wrong.
Without funny, but well, we proved them wrong.
Yeah.
We share a chiropractor.
That's right.
We share
a lot of things, but
drama.
Not body stuff.
No, or fluids.
Right.
Too much?
And for context there, probably to start, why don't we just let the people know who you are?
Oh, hi. I'm Danielle Moinet.
Mm-hmm.
I used to be a WWE wrestler.
Superstar.
Still do a lot with WWE. Now I just went into bare knuckle fighting. I'm not fighting.
Thank God.
I'm on the broadcasting team. Could not do that.
Mm-hmm.
And do modeling. Have swim week coming up. That's why I have my gallon of water here, guys.
What's the routine like for you right now when you're cutting weight?
To try to actually eat more.
Mm-hmm.
I think women especially are like scared of eating. I'm my leanest when I'm eating 5 to 6 meals a day, 3 bigger solid meals with like 2 snacks in between, a protein shake.
Mm-hmm.
Ideally in the next 7 days, I would like to have 2 shakes a day. It's hard for me to eat my body weight in protein. I'm around like 137 right now.
Right.
So I try to have like 140 grams of protein, but it's hard. But with the synthetic protein versus chicken, I see results, and I try to drink water, but it's noon. What time is it? It's noon, and this is as far as I've gone.
Oh, you're getting there. And you're lifting weights all the time.
Yeah, like girls and their booties. Yeah. So I try to do lower body like 2 to 3 times a week. It's my favorite. So.
And do you have hip pain ever? Groin?
No.
Arms?
For me, it's my neck from wrestling.
Got it.
Neck and arm. So I try to do 2 times a week lower, 2 times a week upper. Mm-hmm. So like back, shoulders.
Yeah. That
I can kind of knock out lightly. And then I do my slow incline walking, which has changed my body completely. I feel like a lot of meatheads do it. You do that?
Yeah, and I like to run, be a little bit more athletic, but ideally, trying to get some zone 2.
Like a slow, steady pace.
Mm-hmm.
Ideally 12 incline, but if I can not hold on, like if I'm really sore from working out, I'll do like 8 incline at like a 2.6 to 3.
Got it.
But it's supposed to be like what, 12:33?
Yeah.
Is what
I bring up do you have any like hip, lower body pains? Because, a lot of times girls will overemphasize on like the glute and the hip thrusting and all that.
Yeah.
And it's just like you end up being in so much extension all the time, and they overcompensate and doesn't even out.
Yeah, I think that's true. And I think girls like our posture. We like stick our butt out a little bit, And so I think like
for the gram.
Yeah, do it for the gram. Definitely like finding, my core and thinking about what I'm using when I'm lifting. I do like Pilates because it's a stretch, like having those motions, and it's just so different from what I do.
The reformer you're talking about?
Yeah, like with WWE, we had John Cena's coach really early on for weightlifting, and so we did more Olympic lifting. That's when I learned how to snatch and hang clean and the whole thing.
How different is the WWE now compared to when you first entered it?
Ooh, very different. Very more corporate. Lots of suits, Just got bought out by TKO last summer. I just saw something about TKO getting bought out or something. They've sold it. A lot of purchasing. So, I only know what people tell me. I have a great relationship with them, and I don't think it's necessarily bad to be more corporate, but definitely bringing more people in that aren't from the wrestling world, which could be a good perspective. But I think at the end of the day, the person that is at the top always has to know wrestling. I can't imagine another brand of wrestling just brought in someone that knows isn't from that world. And I'm interested to see how that goes because the wrestling world is so niche.
I suppose if the writers are very much
and writers
connoisseurs in that world, then maybe it's fine.
Writers have a lot of turnaround, especially in WWE. So like, for someone to work as a writer for WWE for like more than a year is very unique. So usually first to be fired if something doesn't go well. So
got it.
Instead of talent. So I've seen them get thrown under the bus a lot when it was probably the talent's fault. But Erica sat ringside at WrestleMania.
I did.
One
Good
year.
times.
I looked at him. I'm like, how did you get this ticket?
That's right. It was very random.
Yeah. No, Eric knows everyone, and he always finds a way to get a ticket to something. I think you gave me. I was doing like a Make-A-Wish for a kid of mine that Triple V. We're good friends now. He has Down syndrome, and I wanted to bring him backstage. And even for me, I was like, I don't know. It's kind of hard. Like, it's Mania Day. I can't get in touch with people. You're like, here, just have my backstage pass. I'm like, how do you have a backstage pass? And so you made the kid's dream come true.
I love that. Well, you did. That's awesome. And you went to this recent WrestleMania.
Yes.
How did it compare to the year before when Undertaker came? I'm sorry, when Stone Cold, that glass broke.
Oh, my gosh. I mean, I will say all it needed was the glass breaking this year. It was every single person. I think this was probably one of the best WrestleManias collectively as a whole in the last 20 years. Wow. For reference, The Rock has been back for a while. I mean, he's 51 and looks...
Yeah, he's a tank.
Incredible. Is he your man crush?
I don't think I have one of those, but if I had to like really sit there for a little while, I'd say like this is somebody, if I could be 6 foot plus and over 200 pounds of 8% body fat, I'd probably pick the
Who would
Samoan.
you pick, The Rock or Mike O'Hearn?
The Rock, well, mostly because
like overall,
I'd probably say
he's got charm.
DJ.
DJ first name basis. The Rock has charisma and charm. Boys want to be with him. Well, girls want to be with him. Boys want to be him.
When Victor Cruz, shout out Vic, when he went to Atlanta for that Titan show that The Rock was hosting.
Oh, yeah.
I heard The Rock prefers DJ on set.
I feel like...
DJ.
Yeah. First name basis, you know?
Yeah.
Hold on, guys. Big pause.
Take your time. It's really important to hydrate.
Did you take? Oh, I was like, did you take my brand off? Because we're not getting.
No, it's all you.
So The Rock's back. So they had a moment where Cena came back, then Undertaker's bell chimed, then The Rock's music hit, and it was like all it really needed was Stone Cold. But it was phenomenal. Like Cody Rhodes won the title, and before that, the guy that held it, Roman Reigns, is The Rock's cousin. Someone's going to eat me alive on the internet if that's not right. And so he's had it for about 4 years since COVID, and he's kind of directed the ship with WWE since COVID and kept everyone afloat. And so it was a big deal, and it was just awesome. It was cold in Philly though. Yeah. So people were cold the first day.
Obviously being pretty removed with the occasional appearance. What were your thoughts, if we can also just skip through this whole part, with the OG, Daddy Vince, Mr. McMahon, with all that stuff going on. Okay.
We have to edit that out.
We can fast forward.
Everyone wants to talk to me about that.
Well, I mean, it's just, I guess, people want to just understand, like, hey, was there ever a thing?
Not
is
with
this
me.
a shock? Is this a...
Yeah, I can't. Like, so Wall Street Journal,
tomato,
and NBC and ABC have all asked me.
Really?
So I can't give you that breaking news.
Breaking news. Moving forward.
Yes.
Broadcasting.
Yes.
How did this come about? I know you did a little bit with the Derby stuff.
Yeah. So I'm completely full of crap. And it's something that I've had since birth. And I jumped into horse racing when we were living together, and called my first Triple Crown a year later. Couldn't tell you anything about gambling, horse racing, nothing. And I just, through being around everyone and osmosis, kind of learned. So in January, I had a producer call me that had worked with me for a while, like years ago, 7 years ago. I hadn't heard from him. And he was like, hey, think I have a gig. We don't have a girl yet, but we want to get someone in the ring, interviewing people after the fights, bare knuckle fighting, only legal in 29 states. I don't know about we got to look up if it's legal in Texas. And so kind of no glass ceiling. There's just this opportunity to really take over in bare knuckle fighting, bare knuckle boxing. And he was like, I know you know nothing about it, but you learned horse racing.
Right.
So let's just see if you like it. It's extremely gruesome. I've shown you some of it. Their faces just completely get mangled. So I flew to Louisiana in February and honestly, like, sat there to see, can I...
The sound also.
Like, yeah, like your fist hitting, someone's face. You can hear it when you're... And I'm working with BYB Extreme, and so that's a trigon, so it's tiny. And so I sat trigon side, and you're just on top of each other. And I will say, it's not as gruesome in person as it is on Instagram and YouTube because the slow-mo and the blood and like that's aggressive, but it is really amazing. Dada 5000 is the one who started it. Backyard Brawl was years ago when he first started it. And to see what it's come to now, it was legal only in 6 states, and now it's 29, so it's really growing. The betting lines just opened for BYB last month, so being able to get those sponsorships in, being able to do like a pre-show, post-show deal, I feel like I've gotten in a really good time with them, and the athletes are amazing, like all walks of life. A girl that fought last month in Tampa, she's a nurse, so I asked her, what do you do when you go in with a patient? And she's like, well, I just have a mask on, and they're usually anesthesia, like just had some anesthesia, so they're not really loopy in and out of it. I'm like, her face was just destroyed. Then there's a lot of guys who have been in and out of jail and getting their life together and really found that like boxing has helped them stay off of the streets. And it's awesome to root for those guys and see them change, their life for their families. So it's been cool. I'm learning.
Yeah, it's wild. I mean, there's a few people from UFC that went and crossed over.
Yeah.
More of the veterans, and Mike Perry, is it?
Yeah.
And he's like, that's his lane. He's crushing it.
Yeah, we have a guy, the Cuban Assassin.
Yeah.
And he's going for the heavyweight title in July, and he's just has the longest wingspan in all of bare knuckle. I mean, just like pound for pound. Insane, like knocked a guy out on a jab, like just really crazy.
He's a tank.
I will say something Eric taught me is that there's been a lot of deaths in boxing, and that was something that I was not really aware of. And with the glove being what, 5 to 10 pounds?
No, ounces. 5 to 10. What do you mean, the MMA gloves or boxing gloves?
No, boxing gloves.
Yeah, it's either like usually 8 to 10 ounces.
I've been saying pounds to people.
Okay. Pounds is it's heavy.
Sure. I mean, yeah, it's like your son.
Yeah, exactly.
But, being able to get your bell rocked a little bit, like a small concussion, and you keep going, and that, big pad is like hitting you over and over in the head.
You're hitting waist up, and it's just so many
blows. So many blows to the head. So I will say the one thing about bare knuckle is your knuckle cuts your face a lot. So there's a lot of, they call it in the first round because it's going to close to their eye. They could be blind, calling it, or you just get your knuckles to your temple and you're a 300-pound guy, you just drop to your knees and the ref has to go in between. So it's a lot of, it's gruesome, but it's the safety is there as opposed with boxing. It seems like a lot of beating over and over. So it's been good. Another profession that has little to no women. I've chose to go that route.
Love it. Well, you're crushing it. And you dabbled in the crypto world for a little bit too.
Yeah,
right?
When I was living with you, we rode that little bull market together. And so, I was on a board. I like to not be put in a box,
for sure.
And you're the same.
I think so.
You always have your hands in a little bit of something.
Yeah.
Eric
Creativity
had never left New York, came to Austin, and I said, you got to go. You got to see. What's the worst that'll happen? You just move back, and you love it, right?
I love it. It's the best thing ever.
Do you ever want to leave?
No shot. I do miss those donuts we used to order at
God.
10 p.m. all the time.
The amount of times we would be trying to eat healthy, and then we'd look at each other and we're like, you want a donut? And I'm like,
yeah.
We could do one. Like, we could split it, right? We're like, yeah, let's split it. And we're like, oh, look at the fees. We might as well get 4. Like, you can't just, have one donut to pass. I'm like, yeah, that's right. And we would really, weigh out the options and talk each other off. We're like, just once.
Yeah, we had some good times.
Yeah.
That was fun. And now Nashville.
Yes. Yeah, Nashville, but I'm not there a lot.
Yeah.
But Nashville's great. They need to invest in the roads.
Mm-hmm.
They need to invest. It's definitely like LA traffic, overpasses.
Mm-hmm.
They need some kind of help because there's traffic from in the rush hour, but like from 11:30 till like 7.
Yeah, I haven't been there in probably a decade.
Yeah, that's probably best.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's a little they call it Nash Vegas.
Nash Vegas.
So it's good for guys. It's not good for dating. It's good for guys because girls come in and out. You never have to talk to them.
Speaking of, I'll ask you the same question I asked Gigi Paris. I had her on a little while ago. What's the DMs like for you?
You know, I do see all my DMs. I feel, well, generally speaking, I think I do. I didn't know that there were like categories of your DMs until Barbie showed me that recently. Like you can see like who's verified versus who isn't. So shout out Barbie Blank. A lot of fans, like honestly, just like a lot of fans being like, we miss you, come back. I have a lot of fans in India. So like a lot of selfies, like people like, men like to have a selfie like this. Like, what is that? Like, yeah, like this. Like, guys, like,
Pro tip.
But also like selfies can be a little douchey unless they're asked for. A lot of my friends will like automatically, if you get a picture like sent to you without asking, not even like a naughty picture, just a regular picture. My one friend Alexis will not even text you back.
Yeah, it's aggressive
for her. But I don't know. For me, I don't mind it because I'm like, oh, you're thinking about me. But like, also, you probably send it to like 10 different people. But the DMs are pretty. They're okay. Like, I'd rather meet someone like that than a dating app. Like for some reason. But Gigi, she said opposite, right? Like she said she didn't like the DMs. Like but did she like the dating apps or no?
I don't think she uses them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Me neither. I mean, I just feel like, yeah, I don't know. Like maybe Instagram's my safe space, and like it's my job too. Yeah. So I'm interested in it, but like it's just hard to win with a guy because then if you have a lot of followers, then I'm like, oh, you must have so many girls liking your stuff. I'm not gonna say yes. But then if you don't have a lot of followers, which is fine, then I'm like, well, will he care that I'm traveling all the time and never home? I'm not going to be the lady in the kitchen. Like, he should just go have like a regular girl. Yeah. So, like, you can't win.
It was so funny, because our relationship is probably pretty unique. Yeah. And that we've never slept with each other or anything like that. Mutual decision, by the way. Yeah. Right? And people would ask me all the time, like, dude, what's going on? How'd it go? And I'm like, no, we're friends.
With us.
And they'd be like, okay, but who's she sleeping with? And I'm like, no, you guys, you don't understand. It's just not out there like that.
Yeah. So why do people think that?
They assume like you went redhead, back blonde. Yeah. I'm just kidding.
Well, because like, redheads are crazy. They tell me.
Who knows? I think it's more like just the social media. Oh, yeah. They see the followers and they assume, you got everybody with a verification and money asking you out. So they just assume.
And like maybe it's because I've like dated an athlete and like that doesn't really impress me after a certain amount. Like I feel like I'm to the place now where like I'm looking for something and I feel like I've accomplished a lot in life and it's empty when you don't have someone to share it with. And like though you're single, you have like Athen and like that's a purpose for you in life. Yeah. And so to lead a purpose-driven life is very important, but also very hard because when you lose your identity, like my identity was wrapped up in work so much, I was Summer Rae. I had a whole nother name. Like talk about identity. Like that was crazy. So to come out of that and be like, okay, well now I'm single and I'm in my 30s and I don't have someone like, do I want that? So yeah, like if I was going to say Leonardo DiCaprio, but I'm not 24. But like if someone, like if someone's in my DMs, like that's nice and that's great. But I will say like most of the time those guys are just boring or they're hot. They have abs, but they're stupid. And
I think you told me, what was it, last night or the day before, you were like, because you dated normally taller guys.
Yes.
And now recently you're coming
5'10".
around. Yeah. Recently you're coming around a little bit.
I'm 5'10". Now I'm opening the floodgates. Now I'm opening the parameters. Like shorter guys, I'm finding. Oh, here we go.
Come on, pal. Give us something.
How tall are you?
5'9" on a good day.
Yeah, on a good day. Okay,
Yeah.
so I'm
Sun's
like,
out.
yeah, I'm like 5'9" 3/4. but I'm mostly in tennis shoes too. Like I'm rarely in high heels unless I have an event.
Yeah.
But what I'm learning about shorter men is that they're nice guys, and maybe it's because they've had to like try harder in life, perhaps, or I don't know. I feel like
It's a reach for stuff, you mean?
like my ex-boyfriend was 6'10".
Yeah.
So he would tell me at times all he would have to do is stand up, and girls would look at him. So like when I say it's like silly, like, oh, you have to try harder and stuff, it's like maybe you are just flown under the radar. I don't know, like, or just there's genuine good guys out there. They just may not be like the TikTok dancers with abs, and like blue eyes, blonde hair. But, and also there's a theory that short guys are better lovers.
Love that.
Because, yeah, like once they get you, then they're like, oh, now I got to keep her. Like now I got to really show out, you know? And so.
Love that.
So I don't know. I mean, but I'm not talking like 5'6", like Marty, you know, like shout out Marty. Hi, Marty. But I will say the good thing about Marty is he's a fighter.
Yeah.
So like that's kind of hot
Got
too.
some character.
Like a lot of the bare knuckle guys are small little guys. I mean, I was calling their weight class. I'm like 135. That's what I weigh. Like what? Like I'll crush you. Like if I ever like sat on your lap, like am I hurting you? Like what's going on? But those guys could kill someone with one pinky.
Yeah.
So that's kind of hot. So it's I'm confused.
Very cool.
But floodgates open. Also, too, I feel like I never thought age was a number. And then like I just feel like now if there's a me in the world, that there has to be someone that's like normal and cool and successful and like, so I've dated guys in, you know, mid 30s. I've tried to date guys in their 40s and I'm like, eh. And so now I'm like, I don't know if a guy in their 20s wants to ask me out, like, sure. But like, are you looking for something? Do you want a child? Like, what's the deal?
Yeah.
So I don't know. I'm learning that each thing is different.
Yeah. Lately, you know, I kind of tell people if I spend time with someone and we're connecting, kind of playing house a little bit, and then there's those conversations of, I find the serious conversations happen pretty quick, which is okay.
Okay.
But my response is always, serious for me is, you're asking to meet my son.
Yeah.
Boom, your stepmom. That's how fast it goes.
Yeah.
So like, I always try to encourage, maybe we just stay in this bubble for a little bit.
Yeah.
Get to know each other. Explore that. And then really think about it. Because I'm not going to experiment because someone's with my son. I'm not going to do that experiment when someone's like, yeah, let's see how it goes.
Sure.
I'm not doing that.
And like, how do you know? Yeah. Like you have to really want kids to have a 3-year-old, 2?
Athen's 3 and change, yeah.
Yeah. So does anyone meet Athen?
No.
That's good.
Yeah.
I had a friend that had 2 kids and she wouldn't tell guys on the first couple dates she had kids.
That's weird.
Which I thought that was weird because even just talking about my friends or talking about you, talking about Eric to someone of note recently.
Would love to drop that, by the way.
And I had to like actively stop telling stories about you, or I have to like actively not tell stories about like my best friends when I'm out because I'm like, oh, that sounds creepy. I've brought them up 10 times. So for you to sit on a date and not bring up your kids, you're actively, which seems like a lie in a way.
Yeah.
And I just feel like if they're your whole world, you shouldn't have to hide it.
So I bring it up pretty like right out the gate. And then I'm also like very aware and observant of if they're asking about my son at all. Like if they want to have serious conversations with me, that's one thing, you know, intimacy and connecting. But like if they're not also asking, I make a note of it.
Yeah, because why aren't you asking?
Right.
Yeah.
So I don't take it as serious unless they start asking.
Yeah. Do girls bring up with you like, do you want to have more kids?
Oh yeah.
And do they bring, if a girl brings up that very early, is that like a red flag to you or no?
No, because I'm open to having more, and I'm also open to meeting someone that has one around Athens' age.
Yeah, I think that's good
maybe a
for you
little
too.
divorce. She
Yeah.
got paid a little bit, or she makes her own money, and then we just kind of gel it in.
Yeah. She got a little paycheck in the month. Yeah, because I feel like my friend Barbie, see now I'm like talking about
Yeah,
a
yeah,
lot.
which
But
is
she
genuine, yeah.
said with her husband now, like second date, she was like, hey, I want to get married within a year and I want to have kids within 2. Thoughts. And she was like 35 at the time, or 34 maybe.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think that's old.
No.
And he was like, and he's the best. Like, Joe's the best. And he just was like, well, I'm not there yet. He's like, but I think I could be. Like, I really like where this is going. But I also feel like after 2 dates, especially if like it's not gotten physical, it's like how a guy doesn't know that. Like, I don't know. It has to be like either a solid no, I don't want kids, or yes, I want kids. Because for me, I'm like, oh, I want to be bold like that. But then I'm like, I don't know. Like, I'm open to having a kid before marriage now. Like, if that's how it goes and things are going great, like, I don't necessarily need to be married, I think.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Like, I don't know. I like,
There's
you
like
have to
that
meet someone to know.
for guys, and not all guys, because I've met some guys that are. I actually had someone describe. She's like, "Hey, you're a really nice guy, but you're not like."
To you?
Yeah, she's like, "You're a really nice guy, but you're not like a nice guy."
Like
Like a
pushover nice guy.
Or pushover, or
Like
more.
when girls are like, he was nice.
Yeah, it was like really nice, and like
So I didn't have
would
sex
never
with
like want to like assume or like you know. So anyway, with that, there's the PNC, post clarity.
Yeah.
That like
Yeah.
a lot of guys
Yeah.
go through.
Yeah.
So like when my buddy recently, Anthony,
Yeah.
our tan friend in Miami, he's like,
Cutie. Oh, he's short.
he's like, hey, yeah, he's like,
How tall is he?
probably 5'7",
Anthony's
5'6".
hot. Anthony's
Yeah,
hot though.
yeah.
He's like
Good-looking dude.
5'7". But he's short.
So he's like, I think I like this girl. I think I really like this girl. And I'm like, great. Go forward.
yeah.
He's like, yeah, but what if I do it? And then I'm like, well, do it, and then you'll figure it out probably pretty quickly. Because if you end up being,
only know that from.
no, you know it from other things, being interested and wanting to pursue, wanting to share time.
Okay.
But usually after someone's physical intimacy way, there is a moment of, okay, great, I want to spend more time with you.
Yeah.
Or for some guys, it's like, shit, I
Yeah.
think I was maybe I didn't think about this, you know?
Yeah.
So that happens too.
Because I think then girls will be like, well, you told me this and you told me you wanted me to meet your mom. You told me that. And it's like in that moment, you actually really did mean that. Like, it's
Pillow
not.
talk, pal.
Yeah,
Dangerous.
but like before you have sex, like you actually probably really did mean that.
Yes.
And then you had some clarity and you're like, oh no. So then I have girlfriends that are like, no matter what, they'll like have sex on the first date because they're like, oh, I'd rather just know right then and there. But then I'm more like, it's so much better when you have like a connection and like know someone, and like my mental health is so much better when I'm like in control. So I guess there's no right or wrong answer, because my friend's getting married
To each their
next
own.
month, and she first night, wham bam, thank you ma'am.
Yeah.
And they've been together years.
Well,
So
where's their wedding?
Houston.
You're going, right?
Yeah, it's
I
massive.
was talking with you about this yesterday. Mm-hmm. The endurance to get on these flights like you do. I mean, we're talking sometimes 6 flights a week.
I feel like it's not, well, recently, yeah. I feel like it's really not that bad, but maybe I've just been doing it for so long.
I watch your stories sometimes, and I'm like, one, I know you're like right around and getting it. Like you're pursuing things.
Yeah.
You're
We're getting paid.
You're getting paid. You're
Yeah.
focused, which is awesome. But then I'm also like, sometimes I got to be like, I'm exhausted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, that, like, to me, it's great. Like, I'm happy, but that's not the end goal. Like, I want someone to take me off these streets.
Yeah.
But like, I would like, my ideal situation would be like to fly to the bare knuckle flight every month, work the 3 days there, and then do like social media work from home and like have a normal life. But I just keep getting great opportunities and keeps popping up, and I'm not seeing anyone. So I'm like, okay, might as well.
Yeah.
So, because I've accomplished so much in my life and I've accomplished what I've wanted to do, I'm happy, like, kind of cheering for someone else now if that comes along. But until then, I mean, yeah, I gotta get what I get. But I do miss being home. But then I get home for like a week and a half, and I'm a little crazy.
You're like, I gotta get out of
But
here.
I will say I'm very, very close to my grandma. I take care of my grandma, and she
Shout
was
out Mimi.
Shout out Mimi, and she's like 5 hours away. So I will say a lot of my free time goes to her now. So I do feel like
Mimi just had her
95th birthday.
95th birthday.
She just had her 95th birthday, and I can't imagine my life without her.
Yeah. So a lot of people don't know this on my side probably, but you're very close to Mimi, your grandma. You're very active, taking care of her.
Yeah.
You know, and
I lived with her for 3 months in the fall because she fell and broke her arm.
yeah.
So I advocated for her in like the nursing home and the hospital. I can't imagine people that have no one. Like I learned so much about senior healthcare in America and just how absolutely crooked and horrifying it is. And then how these amazing, like so selfless caregivers give their time and get paid $15 an hour, and we're paying 35. Like it's disgusting.
You know, this is like a thing that's very trendy in like the longevity space. It's like people don't think enough about the last decade of their life.
Sure.
Being strong and cognitive and focused, and also having the financial means and support too.
Right.
And then you look at like,
because we're not gonna have
two generations before us, you know, like our grandparents.
Yeah.
And most of them, like my grandparents, love them to death.
Yeah.
If they tripped, it'd be a whole, you got to hit the buttons, you got to do everything to get them up. Yeah. But then you see some that are like 1 in 1,000 maybe that are very fit out there, like what's his name, Kennedy, the guy, RFK, pumping out pull-ups.
Oh,
you know,
who's
Robert Kennedy? RFK, Robert Frank.
Who's that?
He's running for president.
Oh,
yeah. I'm not a political guy myself.
But you said me. I was like, me?
No. I was saying, and then you see some other folks.
Oh, by the way, when Eric and I lived together, I like introduced him to so many conspiracy theories during 2020.
Yeah, good time.
So that's why you said me. Oh. Yeah. I was like, RVD? I thought you meant like Rob Van Dam. I was like, no, that's it. I was like, and he's only like 60. Yeah. Actually, he's probably only 50, actually.
That's great.
Yeah, I think, well, I'm like hopeful for our parents' generation, not really our parents' generation, but the one underneath it and ours, because we've just learned so much about what's in our food, smoking, even though now everyone's vaping, which is like just as worse, but health, fitness, what we're actually putting into our body, mental health. Just, I don't do meditation or yoga, but some, you know, doing that or positive affirmations and how it affects your cognitive memory. And so I'm excited for our generation to get older and the one underneath us, because even the one underneath us, like, not drinking is cool. Like in high school, you had to black out and like steal your parents' alcohol, like when I was in school. So now, like, having these like kids that it's like cool to be an environmentalist and cool to like not do drugs and not drink. I'm like, damn, you guys are gonna live to be so much older. The only problem is a lot of people are not having kids the younger that they are nowadays as well. So it'll be interesting to see about the population. But yeah, with the old people, like my grandma was really, really great. But I will say when she started to decline was when I took away her driving only at 93. She was driving great. But then when you can't go to physical therapy and you can't move, that's when it really like takes a deep nosedive. Yeah. Like not like 0 to like 75. It just like goes down. And so being active and moving, they say over 65 years old that you should do something active every single day. And just thinking about even like my dad, he doesn't do that. Like it's so important. My grandpa used to get up, he fought 4 cancers, and he would see how many miles he would have to walk, and he would had the steps in his backyard, and he just went back and forth for like an hour, and he beats 4 cancers. And so, yeah, it's important. We come from like a society where we kind of throw away the elderly, and so that's why like in Asia, it's just so amazing to see how they like take in the elderly and look at them as like, you know, wise and wisdom. And here it's just kind of like, well, just put her in a home. Yeah. And by the way, homes are expensive. $5,000 to $7,000 if you're lucky. The home that my grandma was into rehab was $10,000 a month, $120 a year. Like that's great. It's insane. Yeah. And so, you know, the amount of people that are getting good health care in this country. I mean, I'm not even a political person, but it's really
It's a problem.
it's a problem. I don't understand why the rest of the world has figured it out and we haven't. But yeah, it's sad. I love old people.
Me too. Thank God I still have my grandparents. Lost my nana, my mom's mom.
Yeah.
But very unhealthy. The last like 2 decades of her life, barely moved.
Yeah. Because once you get like that, it's hard. And it's, you know, even I know some people that are obese and walk and move every day. And I'm like, great. Like, as long as you're up and moving, like, you know, you can't, I think the most important thing about fitness is setting realistic goals.
Yeah.
And so many people come to me, they're like, hey, I gotta be skinny in 3 weeks for this baby shower.
Right.
What do you got? And how many times people tell me, like all the time, like, hey, summer, 2 months. Well, I mean, 2 months is not that bad.
Yeah.
And so they always ask me. And so what I say is like, find fun cardio, something that you enjoy. Pickleball. Eric, big pickleball guy. But like for me, I started when I took my first Soul Cycle class, I was like, oh my God, what was that? Like I laughed, I cried, I danced.
Yeah.
And so find, you know, one thing of cardio that's fun to you, basketball for a lot of guys, whatever it is, and then set realistic goals. Like if you're a mom or, you know, if you have a dad, I always leave my dads out, but if you're a mom or dad and you just have 20 minutes, say this week I'm going to do 20 minutes 3 times a week. And people are like, oh, that won't make a difference. Bullshit.
Yeah, it does.
If you do that every single day for a year, or every single week for a year, you will see results.
100%. Especially if you're doing a decent job with what kind of food you're taking in.
For sure. And food, I'd say, is what, 70%?
Yeah, it could be more. I mean, depending on what the quality of food.
Yeah.
Right?
That's a whole nother thing, too. Even just water, like... my grandma lives in Western North Carolina, and so I lived there for 3 months, and just washing my face, I was breaking out everywhere.
Yeah.
And just it's like hard, like water, and she drinks out of the tap, and I'm like, no way. So I started getting her like pH balanced water, but in this country, I mean, you have to have money to have good, nutritious food, and it's just a cycle.
Resources.
It's just, it's just hard, but... Yeah, I think consistency. I think when people go 2 months and they don't see results, or 3 months and they don't see results, they stop. And so if you think about that, you're already ahead of people. Like if you just keep going and say, I'm going to do it for a year, you're already beating out everyone else. So consistency and knowing that motivation isn't real.
Right.
Like there's no such thing as motivation.
Yeah, it's an illusion.
It's
just
discipline.
Discipline, day after day.
Yes, like I'm not motivated. I don't want to do this. Like, but I take a gym selfie and like look cute and put it on Instagram to like hold myself accountable. Like most of the time I don't want to do that.
Right.
But I'm competitive with myself and I'm disciplined, because if I don't do it, then I'm like, something's wrong with my day. Like I'm mentally like not okay.
Yeah, it is a fact. It ripples into everything else in your life.
Sure.
Every day, for sure.
Yeah, and like people say that to me too. They're like, "Oh, you need a gym guy. Like you want to date like a guy with abs, a gym guy." And I'm like, "I don't, but I usually do, because it shows me who you are in other things of life. If you say you're going to show up for yourself and you don't in the gym, then how are you going to show up for me, your kids, like your mom, your dad, whatever it is, and at work, like I just hate anyone that's lazy."
I hear you. All right, so I want to do something different and be fun. Okay, I'm going to set the timer for 60 seconds, and we're going to do some rapid fire questions, okay?
Like quick answers.
Quick answers, and then you can do it to me, too, if you have questions. Okay, are you ready?
Yeah.
You want a sip of your water?
Okay, hold on.
Take a sip, Belle.
Oh, God. How am I going to finish this whole day? Okay.
Okay. And this is all Danielle, your preference. Ready?
Okay.
Okay. Squats or deadlifts?
Deadlifts.
When you're kissing, tongue or no tongue?
Tongue.
Okay.
Like who are we kissing?
Just in general.
Okay.
Favorite country singer?
I really like Riley Green right now.
Okay. Favorite sport?
Football.
Got it. Do you have a specific walk, wink when you're doing the runway?
No, I try to change it up every time.
Okay, got it. 30 seconds, you're doing a great job.
Okay.
Chicken or steak?
Steak.
What's your favorite energy drink?
Ooh, C4.
Good job. Favorite gym in the country?
Collective.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Quantum in Nashville.
Got it. And favorite memory in New York?
Ooh, Jack's wife, Frida. What do you say? What is it?
That's right.
Jack's
For
Frida
brunch.
wife.
Favorite
You and
brunch.
I going. It's great.
Good spot.
And
Okay.
me teaching Eric how to buy groceries and cook.
That's pretty
The
good.
first time we ever went to Trader Joe's, we started living together, and he would just eat out all the time. I'm like, damn, money bags, like in New York, this is a lot. And two, like, how do you have apps? Because even if you're eating out clean, there's still oils. I cook with oil at home, but oils, sodium, everything. So we get all these groceries, we go around, and usually if you eat healthy in the grocery store, you know where everything is, you know? So we get it, we're walking back, and he's holding the groceries, I'm holding some, and he just goes, man, so much. And I said, yeah, I mean, it like takes a lot for, and you were like, no, it's so many groceries for so cheap. You're like, wait till I tell my mom. And I'm like, what do you mean? And I think we spent like $120. And you're like, it's just like, I spend that one night easy carbone. And I'm like, yeah. So, and it probably helped with the ladies, cook a little something.
Yeah, it's nice to cook. It's just
Auntie had like a cast iron pan for salmon, like the most expensive cast iron. I'm like, whose pan is this? It was the girl that used to live there.
Yeah.
And I was like, what is this?
Yeah, 'cause she cooked a good amount. I mean, the convenience and the time, and it takes a lot to meal prep and do it all, or cook 3-4 meals a
Meal
day.
prep is worth getting it from someone.
Yeah. But I think like those New York days, I was probably, even eating out all the time, I was probably still in a deficit just from doing so much exercise, so much running around, 10 clients a day. Ugh.
And eating in between. It's hard for guys too. You have to eat a lot.
Yeah.
Okay, let me do rapid fire for you.
Okay. God help me.
Okay, hold on.
Take a second.
Okay. I do want to try the C4. What's your favorite flavor?
I like this and the blackberry. So this is this one, the Smart Energy, doesn't have the beta-alanine, so there's no jitters in this one. This was more like smooth, caffeine, accelerates, boost.
Ready?
Sure.
Butter boobs.
The tush for me.
Tush. Last meal on death row.
Something with steak.
That's it? Not a specific place? Carbone?
Oh, restaurant-wise?
Yeah, like anything.
Yeah, probably Carbone. I'll do that. Shout out Mario. Love you.
Favorite color?
Blue.
Are you a mama's boy or a daddy's boy?
Mom.
How many kids do you want total?
I have one now, probably 2 or 3 total.
Were you happy when you found out Athen was a boy versus a girl?
I was still in shock and trauma through the whole kind of experience. So very happy I have my son. Yeah.
Okay. Have you ever done drugs?
Smoked some weed, did a little mushrooms, never did anything else.
Yeah, same.
Yeah.
Would you rather have? Oh, I can't ask that.
You can ask.
No, because you don't have a daughter. Oh, God. No, I'm so scandalous. I'm going to get you canceled. Everything I kept thinking about, I was like, I'll tell you off air.
It's okay.
It's hard when the clock's racing.
Clock's ticking, pal. And also, we didn't write anything down.
Yeah.
We don't do that.
No. Honestly, we are very ADD, and we've been pretty on task this time.
Yeah, and also...
Yeah,
and we did a great job. And also, I would say, we spent a lot of time with each other.
Yeah.
I think it's just kind of like our personalities.
Yeah.
We've never had any issues,
No.
arguments, like, fuck.
What's the best advice I've ever given you?
Best advice.
I can think of the best. I think of something that you said to me. And
You've given me some good gems. Why don't you go first?
One that sticks out to me is I was distraught after this guy broke up with me out of nowhere. To the point where his face, he was like, nuh-uh.
Yeah.
Like, he looks at me, he was like, what? What do you mean? Nuh-uh. Like, couldn't believe it. It was horrible. So the next day, I got up, went to the bathroom, and he left me a note on the mirror.
That's right.
And it said, D, everything's going to be okay. Like, Eric. But when you think about that in life, everything's going to be okay.
Yeah, you just have to stay calm.
And I really think if you ask some people who don't have money or not in the some people that have just gone through a death, whatever it is, like, no feeling is forever.
Yeah.
and that everything's going to be okay. And if it's not, then you die. But you know, like I always think like I've gotten myself through this for 40 years. Like I can get through it again. And so it's important to remember in those moments that everything's going to be okay. You don't know how. And I think it's just like us as humans trying to control things, but it's a good lesson.
Yeah. Because uncertainty, when it comes at you from left field, it's scary.
Yeah.
You know, and then there's uncertainty, and then fear comes, and ego falls into place. So it's just, I always try to just, everything will be okay. This might suck now, but tomorrow,
you go through the motions well as well. I don't. I like to be in control, you know?
Yeah.
And I have bad anxiety. You don't. You get spotty anxiety.
I get spotty, but for the most part, I just try to like use that foundation I have of all the nonsense and trauma bullshit. Yeah. And I just use that as, okay, I've gotten through this. Yeah. I think I'll be all right here.
I think that's what I told you the whole time when you found out about Athens and stuff was one day at a time.
Yep. Yeah, that was a rocky ride.
One day at a time. Like, that's such good advice, too. Yeah. It's just like, I think it's on my phone.
Yep.
One day at a time, because it's just like, you can't see it. But, yeah. When you think of that, because really nothing's promised tomorrow, and I think what we learned with COVID and quarantine is that it's literally one day at a time. Yeah. So,
okay, so leave us with one more thing. What's next? What you're excited about?
I'm going to get really busy. Shelter. But I think what I want out of my life right now is to pick some things and start saying no to some things and whatever makes me happy, and like start having some time for myself, because I've given so much of my life, my last year, to my grandmother, which I don't regret, but it's made me be like, okay, like I don't need to be working 24/7. Like, what's good for me, and I need to say yes to life more. You did a good job with that. If it was up to me, I'd be on my couch and like go to the gym and go to the couch. But even this last week, I was like really disconnected. I was out in the country. I was like hanging out, and I was like, wow, I feel like I lived more this week. So I need to start saying yes to things more.
Love that. All right, I think we did it.
Yeah.
All right, appreciate you, Danielle. Shout out Danielle. Follow all the things.
Oh, yeah. You can follow me on Instagram at Danielle Moinet, Moinet.
Oh, they know.
Oh, they know?
They know. Okay. All right. Love you. One, hit a button here.